Straight up, how the is tall in the phone don't stop. Watch the trunk pop and the
All right, what's happening? What it do? We back, y'all. We doing
Yeah,
we
what's
doing
up,
some
man? What's up?
uh what's up, fellas? What's up, fellas? My bad, my bad.
Much, nothing much.
Well, yeah, so we doing something a little bit different today, y'all. There's we this one ain't gonna be a game reviews or recaps or nothing like that. Been some major discussion since the playoff game Sunday, Dallas versus San Francisco, about the culture that resides in Dallas, Texas, and Arlington, Texas, wherever the Cowboys actually
Mm.
reside. And so we want to jump on that. We want to touch on that. About the culture. Is the culture the thing, that played a part in them losing that game on Sunday, or was it something different? So I thought it was a great topic. The fellas thought it was a great topic. So this is something we want to jump on into. Fellas, first thing I want to ask y'all, man, is what is your definition when someone says the culture of the Cowboys? What is your definition of that? What does that mean to you?
Go ahead, Dre. That's you.
Um, the culture is the environment that is set forth by either someone at the top. Sometimes it could be a GM or an owner. Most of the time it's the head coach. It's from day one of training camp or tour days or whatever level of football or sports you play. Um, when you walk in, when he introduces himself, when he talks about the goals of the team, he's starting to establish a culture. He always normally says, hey, we're going to be this type of team. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to be structured. We're going to play hard. And it normally is something that the players tend to buy in on. Early on in that coach's career, some players might be weary about it. And some coaches are able to sell it and buy in immediately. Some of them have earned the rights of the players to buy into their coach. Bill Belichick's an example. Mike Tomlin's an example. They have particular ways to operate and do things. They have a mindset that is part of their culture. And prime example of that, Charles Omenihu, former Texan, who's a 49er now, spoke of the lack of culture in Houston now that he's with the 49ers. He gave a great example of what is missing in Houston and what's the problem. And that's because there's no culture. You know what I'm saying? That coach, the GM, they're bumping heads. There's nothing established. There's no structure. There's no discipline. And how a coach implements his culture tends to follow throughout the season. You can tell. You can tell what they're focused on. You can tell what they try to strive to be. You can tell the mindset of the team or the organization. They feed off of that. So my debate, the reason why we got in this debate, I've been saying all year long, if you go back on these podcasts, is that the Cowboys need to change their culture. It's been pretty much set by Jerry Jones, except a few different occasions. Of course, Jimmy Johnson, and the reason why he fired Jimmy is because they had a problem with the culture. Jimmy had it one way. Jimmy did it his way. Jimmy had the same culture and mindset at Miami Hurricanes as he did with the Cowboys. Michael Irvin spoke of it, but Jerry didn't like it. Jerry wanted to have the power. Jerry wanted to set the have the culture. So he got rid of Jimmy. Ever since
Okay,
then,
okay, Dre, hold on. You jumping way too far ahead.
oh my phone.
You went on a tangent. Okay, so
Epic
Deron,
rant, huh?
he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait. Hey, so let me ask you this, Deron.
Yeah.
Kind of in response to that. Now, what Dre described, would you say that that's the culture, or if that's the philosophy of the coaching staff of the Cowboys? Is there a difference
Well,
between a culture and a philosophy within the building?
what we was talking about was, winning and losing. And in winning, I think there's four pillars of winning: the culture of the place, the talent, the scheme, and the preparation that you have to win. You know, the other three are easy to define. Preparation is like coaching, practicing. Scheme is the X's and O's. Talent is all about your superstars and how good of a player that you got. But culture is like you said, it's almost like the philosophy and what we are as a team. It's like how much respect we have for one another, or what we are trying to do, towards one another, that we all on one goal, one mind. We just like Dre said, going from the head coach all the way down. A tone is set of what you are, and that's the hardest one to kind of figure out. Um, how do you show what kind of culture you have, and without moving forward, on what I think with the Cowboys and in that winning, and with the culture that we have, that it did play a part, but the winning and losses is more than just the culture.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all what I think. To me, the culture of the Cowboys is entertainment and money. I think that's the culture of the Cowboys. It's about, you know, turning the Cowboys into a conglomerate all to itself. The
But
biggest
everybody's in that.
conglomerate, huh?
Everybody's in that though. Everybody's trying to do that though. It's
Right,
not
but the
something,
Cowboy, Jerry Jones is on a
he's
different
mastered.
level,
Yeah. Yeah.
when it comes to building up the brand of the Cowboys, from other franchises. And it's
Yeah.
also for him, it's about the entertainment of it all, the dazzle, you know what I'm saying, the sparkle of it, the bright lights of it. To me, that's the culture of the Cowboys, which to me is different from whatever the philosophy is for the coaches and players inside the building, right? So I think every coach that then came to the Cowboys had a different philosophy as as it pertains to what goes on the field, what type of football team that they wanted to be on Sunday, Monday night. You know what I'm saying? That was different from the culture of the Cowboys to me. And so that's where me and Dre disagree. I don't think that the culture itself um, plays a role in wins and losses. I don't think it plays a role in wins and losses. Does
Plays
it
a
does
role.
it does it does it sometime affect the product on the field? Maybe. And that's because of Jerry Jones. His constant meddling, his constant comments that he makes, before and after games, the pressure that he puts on the coaches, on the players with certain stuff that he says or does. But I don't think I don't think that that's the culture, or it has anything to do with the culture of the Cowboys. What say you?
Go ahead, Dre.
Oh, you define brand. You just said it. But you spoke of the Cowboys, it's their brand. It's not their culture. Their culture is the mindset from the players to the coaches to assistant coaches to even the equipment managers. It's Mike, like I said, Mike Tomlin is best at it. Everybody spoke of it. The GM for the Texans spoke up on 2 days ago on Texas radio about how Mike Tomlin sets the culture with the Steelers. My brother gave the perfect example yesterday when I talked to him, and we
Well,
tried to
let me
call his
ask you a
mom.
question. Let me ask you a question real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, but you talk about Mike Tomlin sets the culture. Was the culture of the Pittsburgh Steelers set before Mike Tomlin ever became head coach when they had Bill Cowher?
They have uh, reputation.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They have a history. They have, like you say, a brand. You know, Steelers come from a tough-minded Pittsburgh town, so they kind of feed
Yeah.
off the town and things of that nature. Yes, they have
The
that.
Roonies, and then Roonies are that type of owner that they remember. They only had like 3 head coaches, 4 head coaches, or something crazy. So the Roonies, they set a nice culture for
Right. That's what
the
I was saying.
coach.
That's what I was
But
saying. So the culture was set before Tomlin got there.
no,
Mm,
even if
What's
that's
the
the case,
difference?
right? The owner had to get a coach that can keep that culture. You know what I'm saying? These new players that are getting drafted, they're coming in. Yeah, they know Pittsburgh, they know the Steelers, but they don't know the mindset, the work ethic, the scheduling, all that, the tough mentality. You can know it from afar, but you don't really understand it until you get into the locker room. And that coach has to implement that from day one. My brother said the perfect thing. Culture is the blueprint of the team. And that blueprint has to be given from the coach day one. Day one, he's going to say, we're going to be disciplined. And Duran will probably tell you, I'm sure his coach told you, first day, we're going to be disciplined. We're going to be hard-nosed. We're going to fight to the last whistle. We're going to do this. And how they do their practices, how they conduct themselves, is that it co-signs to what they're saying, how they even carry themselves. Bill Belichick has a way in New England. It's the New England way. That's the New England culture. How they talk to the media, how they carry themselves off the field, how they do everything. That's why Tom Brady was happy to get from under there so he can just breathe a little bit. Because
Okay, so are you in some way contradicting yourself where if you say that the coach puts forth the culture, then how can you put it at the foot of Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones isn't the coach.
I said in the beginning, the first thing I said, sometimes it's set by the GM. Because like here in Texas, in Houston, the debate is, are we going to be a GM-driven team or a head coach-driven team? And one thing is the example they gave of that, the reason why Harbaugh and Barkley got into. Who's going to have the power and the real say-so? Some GMs have that. Bill Belichick is the reason why it's a New England way, because he's the GM and the head coach. And in some situations, the GM don't want that and allow the head coach to do his job and stay out of it, like in Pittsburgh. So certain teams have that head button, Jerry Jones and Jimmy. So that's why I said in certain situations, the owner sets the temperature tone, the GM do, or the head coach. But 9 times out of 10, it's set from the top. A player can't come here and say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to be, and whoop de whoop whoop. I don't
Duran,
know.
jump in here right quick. Jump in here right quick, Duran, because I want to ask this question. So let's say the head coach, the GM, whoever decides this is what we want the culture to be. If the players don't buy into that culture, does it actually work?
Well,
No.
it can. Players can do things, but it needs to be everybody involved in it to make it happen. Just like coach is not the main thing. Like I said, culture, talent, scheme, and preparation. Because Dre said even with the Lakers had a bad culture
Head coach.
inside their organization, but
Yep.
they had talent, they had a scheme, and Kobe knew how to prepare. So that's why I said in our argument about, did Dallas lose because of the culture of what they was? I was like, nah, it wasn't a culture. It was other things involved that Dallas did win. They like each other, but the coach and preparation and getting these boys ready, like I said with the penalties, you can't be 2 years in getting penalties and then all of a sudden be surprised in the last game of the game you got the most penalties in the game. So
And
mine was more preparation and practice. If you got to practice, to know when I slide, get a ball to the ref. You know what I'm saying? So culture wasn't the thing that killed Dallas. The preparation of the team, which is coaching, that's why I say we need to get rid of that.
just to chime in real quick, that's where the debate between me and Deron was yesterday. If you go back to our previous podcast, when me and Deron was talking about Dak not waiting for the referee to touch the ball and all that, and how that's done in practice, That's set by the culture. If you're going to be a tough-minded team, you're going to be disciplined, you're going to be structured, you're going to be able to handle pressure. That's all about, like Deron said, the preparation. That's all about the culture. Like time over time, we've heard they're a well-coached team. That is part of the culture, being well-coached. And how they conduct practice is part of the culture. And I've said this time and time again, and I'm sure anybody who plays sports heard it. Your weaknesses and your problems in the beginning tend to be the ones to destroy you at the end. And throughout the season, the Cowboys been 31st in penalties. If they had a different culture in set, that coach from day one made sure that they stayed disciplined, structured, and focused not to be committing stupid penalties.
Well,
New
see,
England
this is why I disagree. This is why
are some of the least penalized teams in their coaching tenures. And that's the reason why it's the culture they implement in there.
this is why I disagree somewhat with that, right? Because I feel like Dallas is probably the only team that lost, that could have lost um last weekend, and the first thing people was gonna do is try and say the culture, the culture, the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like San Francisco is a highly penalized team also. If San Francisco would have lost on Sunday, it would have been because of Jimmy. It would have been uh, things that they would have blamed Kyle Shanahan on play call, but it wouldn't have been the culture of the team. You know what I'm saying? Like that's an easy out, I believe, for people to attack Dallas on. Um, to me, the lack of discipline, and those type of things, I do believe that it's coaching, but I don't believe that Dallas was the highest penalized team in the NFL under Jason Garrett. I don't believe that they was the highest penalized team under Bill Parcells. And so if what you're saying that it's the culture, then that means that it's gonna continue no matter who the coaching staff is, that they're gonna have the exact same issues, coaching staff after coaching staff, year after year, and that's just not the case. So I just believe that the coaching staff that they have in place did not emphasize attention to detail and discipline to the players, you know, week by week, and being that it's something that's carried on pretty much all season, it was not addressed enough or properly by the coaching staff that, fellas, we got to get this under control or this is going to cost us a game. That's, to me, that's not culture. That's just a lack of accountability in the coaching staff to properly get your players in line and doing the right things.
You're speaking of culture. Those are defined under, it's the blueprint. Accountability. Like, I swear to God, I wish Jahar was on this podcast. I swear to God, you're speaking of, that's the mindset in the culture of if Bill Belichick holds everybody accountable, even Tom Brady. He chewed out Tom Brady in front of the whole team. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the culture and the mindset. Mike Tomlin the same way. Certain what Swagoo said on ESPN, the coaches that were different from Jerry Jones, who would combat him and come at Jerry and say, Jerry, no, I don't want this, or this and that. Those mindset of those teams were different. They just didn't have the talents as much as these current Cowboy teams. The reason why people throw up the culture about the Cowboys is it goes back to combat what Deron said about the Lakers. They have the talents, but they have enough talent to win. They're the most talented team. They always deep. You know what I'm saying? The only excuse on why they're not winning is the culture. It starts from the top. You got to put the blame at the top. And the top's going to be the head coach, owner, or GM. If they put together a good team full of talent, they have the number one offense in football, then what's the problem? It's the problem is what Swagoo said. Every time since Jimmy left, The Cowboys in late situations have mental lapses. They fumble the ball on a snap. They don't make the catch against Green Bay. They don't let the referee touch the ball. It's a mindset that once again goes from day one. Disciplined, structured, and you in line. You always feed off the coach. Every coach that the Cowboys have, they have that coach's personality. Bill Parcells was the exception, and Swagoo said it. And that's the reason why he didn't stay long, because he was the one that came to Jimmy and said, no, this is what I need to do. I'm going to implement the culture. And Jimmy had a problem with it. I mean, not Jimmy, Jerry, excuse me. Jerry had a problem with it. Jerry put T.O. on that man's roster, and he didn't want T.O. there because it was going to mess up his culture. And what happened? T.O. sitting there doing sit-ups and push-ups on the driveway or crying about that's my quarterback.
First of all, that happened in Philadelphia when he was doing that. And when he was doing that, he was playing under Andy Reid. So does Andy Reid have a bad culture too?
We're talking about the mindset of the player. That's what they always say. T.O. was a cancer in the locker room. He's going against the culture of what we're trying to do. Antonio Brown just did it in Tampa Bay. They had to get rid of him. No, this is how we do things here. And that's started by Brian Aries. This is what we do here. This is how we handle things. This is the culture here. Teams that have good coaches that have a good culture and established, and the GM or the head owner ain't butting in, look at where they at. They're probably good for his penalties. They probably top and they don't have no issues off the field. The players tend to buy in. You don't have issues like that where they have a good culture in place. And I gave shout out to the 49ers a couple shows ago, because Shanahan implemented a good culture.
But this is what Shanahan had to say. Kyle Shanahan said that the coaches, the GMs, they could talk about the culture till they blue in the face. He said, but it's the players who have to actually implement it. That if the players don't buy in, that if the players aren't holding each other accountable, then there will never be an actual culture in the locker room. So according to Shanahan, the culture is driven by the players. It's implemented by the players. That's what Kyle Shanahan said. Now, if you're giving credit to Kyle Shanahan, then he's disagreeing with your own assessment.
You just said it. You said, I didn't say that the players don't implement it and run it, but who put it in place? You just said it. The coaches talk about culture. That means they're telling them this is what we need to do. Yes, the players got to buy in it and they got to run it, but the coaches is what who plant the seed. So prime example, the president of the United States is the president. He tries to set things in motion and wants the culture of what this country is going to go. It's the Congress and the House of Representatives and the local governments that really run and implement everything. They the ones who really got the power. But the temperature in the room is set by the president. Prime example, the one we just had. His mindset and culture spread throughout the whole country.
We're not gonna get into politics. Deron, jump in here. Give us something.
Well, since we're talking about my Cowboys and y'all been just taking shots at my Cowboys on the cool, you know what I'm saying? I don't appreciate none of that. But
ain't nobody took those shots at you. I'm defending your Cowboys, man. Don't do that.
I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? It's because Jerry's problem is that he's gotten yes man, and the culture in the place is from Jerry, but it doesn't have to always be from the GM to the coach, you know, whatever. Just like the Chicago Bulls, they coach you between the GM and the head coach, and the head coach, you know, kind of try to get the head coach and the players try to cut out the GM, and they still won championships. There's gonna be places where, like I said with Cleveland, with LeBron, that do you really think the coach won the championship there? And you know, the Cleveland years, that was LeBron taking the culture of that team, you know, with other good players like Kyrie. But it can be done. Everybody got to step in. It's better when everybody's involved, but it can be done from each level if they take the command of the coach in there. It's just the leaders. The leaders.
Okay, let me
Who's going to lead your team?
good example. I'm glad you brought up the Lakers and the Bulls, right? Antoine talk about players buying in, and they have to buy in. They definitely have to drive the truck. In LA, the cancer in the organization was between who?
Shaq and Kobe.
There you go, the players. It wasn't Phil Jackson was the mastermind in keeping them together just enough for them to win. But the toxic situation that caused the culture to be off was between the players. In Chicago, the players followed Phil. Phil is what Michael needed in order to get over the hump. The disdain was between Phil and ownership, just like in Dallas when Jimmy was there. All the players bought into Jimmy. They loved Jimmy, and players want to play for Jimmy. The problem was between Jimmy and Derek. So I agree. You can overcome certain culture situations, but they still got to be a buy-in somewhere. You have to believe, like Shaq and Kobe still believed in Phil's culture. They just had problems on who should be the man.
Okay, so is it possible? And Deron, this is probably mostly for you. Is is it possible for the culture to change in Dallas under Jerry Jones, or is this just what it's gonna be for Dallas for the foreseeable future?
Well, I think he's got himself another yes man in Mike McCarty. I think that's what he likes to hire is yes men. When he didn't, like we talked about Bill Parcells, Jimmy, and I'm trying to think. Barry Switzer wasn't a yes man, but he did what he needed to do to win them a championship, and it was off of Jimmy's championship teams. I told y'all I wanted to exit out the first round because I wanted to get Harbaugh, but I don't even know if Harbaugh want to be in Dallas. So,
Why? Why you don't want to?
Well, no, I don't think there's any other reason you want to be the Cowboys if he just has something else in mind because he's going somewhere. He's going somewhere. And the Cowboys could be one of Cowboys would be one of them too. It's a top job, but just for whatever reason, I'm not saying
Let's not get crazy, Deron. Let's not get crazy.
Come on, man, please, man. Come on, let's not do this.
I've been defending your
Let's not do
team.
this.
I've been defending your
Let's not do
team
this.
now. But
Let's not do this.
let's not pretend. Let's not pretend that a headstrong guy like Jim Harbaugh would clash with Jerry Jones from day one.
So y'all trying to tell me this is not a top-notch team in it? I mean, coaching job in the
No,
NFL.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are certain coaches who wouldn't touch the Dallas Cowboys with a 10-foot pole.
Man, what? Bill Belichick? That's
The
it.
owner slash GM, his meddling ways, him always got something to say, him wanting to have input on personnel and all of that, and not letting the coach run the team, fully run the team. And Jim Harbaugh, like Deron brought up Harbaugh and Balky, and the issue between those two was number one, uh, Jim Harbaugh wanted to have more say in the personnel, whereas Trent Baalke didn't really want to let him. And the other thing is that Jim Harbaugh got pretty much all the credit for that turnaround and us becoming the team that we was, and Trent Baalke felt some type of way. And so it's no question to me that if the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, if the Cowboys get to the championship game, that Harbaugh's gonna get all the credit, and Jerry Jones ain't gonna like it, and it's gonna be a problem.
That's the exact same thing happened to Jerry and Jimmy. That's why radio here in Houston brought it up yesterday when Charles Bronk made those comments. It's because the GM or the owner wants the glory, and the head coaches are getting it. because football players know it's really the head coach that we're buying into. We're not buying into the GM. The GM ain't calling the plays and doing the practices and helping us through tough times and inspiring us and motivating us, making phone calls during the day to uplift us and stuff and checking on our injuries and our children. GMs ain't doing that, the head coaches are. So,
yeah, well, Jerry doing it. I'm letting you know that Jerry.
well, and that's the problem. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? And to answer your question, it's the same thing Swagoo said. Jerry Jones has to at some point get out the way. And if God, I'm not wishing this upon nobody, but he's getting up there in age. But when the good Lord call him to glory and his son take over, watch things change. Swagoo said it. And he's a former Dallas Cowboy and a big-time Cowboys fan.
So you thinking that Stephen Jones is gonna run the team differently from Jerry?
Yeah, I don't think Stephen's gonna want the glory. He's not gonna care if they give him the credit and all that. It's kind of like we have some debates here locally within the family when it comes to the mainland Jaguars and Little League football and things of that nature. And me and my brother agree with this. I don't care who gets the glory, who gets the shine, who gets the reason why we won. If you're at the top, they're going to say Jerry Jones's team, Stephen Jones's team. Yes, the coach, Jimmy Johnson, may won the Super Bowls and everybody talking about it, but it's under your tender. It's under your time there. You know what I'm saying? You're still getting that Super Bowl wing or the championship or whatever. So a true leader shouldn't care who gets the credit. You know what I'm saying? You still get the rings.
Give me your opinion. Give me your opinion, Deron. I hear you. You groaning back there.
I do think, like you said earlier, I think Jerry is looking at his mortality and wants to do nothing else but to win a Super Bowl before whatever. But I think if it was up to Jerry right now, he would fire McCarthy and get Jim Harbaugh because I think he's at that position. I think it is Steven. Steven loves McCarthy. I think Steven is trying to tell him to keep McCarthy because Steven already came on there and said, hey, I don't see no problem. We keeping him. And Steven has made some decisions draft-wise and personnel-wise that has proven better than what Jerry was thinking. But I think Jerry needs to make this decision. He does. If he hasn't changed and it is him that's saying, I'm keeping McCarthy, then he's right. We're not going to do nothing until he leaves. Stephen Jones gets, upset with losing and hires somebody and gets out the way as well. It has to be a top-notch coach with this talent. So it's Jerry going to have to make that move, and it's going to be hard.
I want to add this real quick. Deron, this is a question for you. If Mike Tomlin secretly say, hey, I'll leave Pittsburgh and come coach the Dallas Cowboys, would Jerry give him reins to operate the team his way?
Are you saying, would he do that?
Yeah. If Mike Tomlin, Bill Belichick, Sean Payton become available, Andy Reid.
Yeah, it was best that you named some white coaches because they ain't finna hire no black coach to give them all the power.
I thought we weren't doing politics. And you going into politics.
That ain't politics. I'm just saying.
But yeah, I'm just using Mike Tomlin as an example. Will Mike Tomlin get to come over here, implement his culture, do things his way, have say-so over the roster? Or any of those coaches I named?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not more of Jerry, even though Jerry is going to be hard for Jerry. But Jerry and Steven has their hands on it. They are and have been fascinated with Sean Payton for years. I think they would definitely let him come back because he's been here before. But I think Jerry wants another one. Yeah, I think it's more Steven than anything else.
He wouldn't buy into none of those coaches.
I think Jerry would, yeah. I think Jerry would, but like I said, it's Jerry and Steven that got their hands on it. I don't think Steven would, though. Steven is having fun.
This is the thing, though. It ain't necessarily bringing in a top-notch coach and giving him, some say. The thing is, would Jerry Jones step down as GM if that was a prerequisite?
Mm,
If Sean Payton said, "Look, I'll come to Dallas, but I want to be able to pick the GM."
that's not gonna happen.
That's
No,
what
no,
Swag. The reason why I asked, because that's what
that's not
Swag.
gonna happen.
That's a reason why Swagoo said that. Like, if you get a top-notch coach, he brought up Sean Payton, and Sean Payton say, "Hey, but let me bring a GM in here that I know can give me the players I want, can good on cap, all that." Will Jerry step down in the sake of winning the Super Bowl, or would he still want the power? And the reason why I also bring that up is if the most stubborn owner, and since George Steinbrenner and with the Yankees, you know, caves in to that coach, then that would automatically would tell you, the players are going to buy in on day one. That's it.
That I 100% agree with. It would send a huge message if Jerry Jones would show that he's willing. When he say he'll do anything, he'll pay anything for a Super Bowl. If he showed that he was willing, okay, look, this is the coach I want. This coach wants a certain GM, to partner with, to get this team to the Super Bowl and to win us a Super Bowl. And so that I'm willing to do, then that would send the message to the entire team, because now they understand they can't go around the head coach to the GM to get their way.
Yeah,
They can't just get a nice friendly relationship with the owner slash GM and know that their job is secure, you know what I'm saying, and that they gonna get the type of contract they want and all of that type of thing. It would send shockwaves through that organization, but like Deron said, it's not gonna happen. Him stepping
well,
down. Go ahead, Deron.
Well, it's not gonna happen for another reason is that because McClay just got a raise and he is really the GM of personnel and getting stuff in, getting players and all that, and he's done a real good job. And he's a black man, he will be the GM. He really is the GM right now. It's somebody that has the personality to shine when Jerry is there because he's such a powerful,
Too bad a lot of us don't even
Jerry
know what
Jones.
that look like. I ain't never seen that black man face in my life.
He the cap out. He's the accountant.
That's cold.
No, man, he running the show, man. So that's
What
not happening.
A math major from Yale or Princeton or something?
No, man, he did personnel. He done all that, man. Being a scout and all that stuff. He done worked himself up there. Stop messing with him, man.
Man, this dude is a myth, man.
Nah.
First time I heard his name. I mean, how long you worked for the Cowboys?
Bro, I never seen his face before in my life. You know what I'm saying? It's like what's that called? The tales that children pass through. Urban legends. You know what I'm saying? That dude, there's urban legend, man. I didn't heard the name before.
Y'all go hear him.
I didn't heard his name. I didn't heard his name before, but I never seen him. I couldn't pick him out in the lineup. They got this man locked up in the basement, man. I'm telling you. The only time he get visitors is around draft time. Jerry Jones go down.
Well, it goes back to what you just said, Ant. Deron just said he a black man. So you already said Jerry ain't gonna hire a black head coach. So them black people they put in the back room. They don't let them be sick.
But see, that's the thing, right? So they got this dude. So what I didn't heard about this dude is that, like Deron basically said, he's the brains behind their drafts. That he does all the legwork. He basically makes the picks, to a large degree anyway. But you think Jerry Jones is finna name him the team GM? Let him get his face out there?
Yeah. It's a long time past due. He just gave him a raise because I know a lot of people have been trying to pick at him. So, and like I keep saying, y'all keep taking shots, man. But I'm gonna let y'all. We lost, no doubt. Y'all keep,
Hey, I can't tell you.
Yeah, but this ain't about the game. This ain't about the game necessarily.
No, it's about my team. About my team.
No,
but
we trying to find out from you about the culture. Is the culture the reason why they lost on Sunday? You know what I'm saying? Because that's the talking point now.
Right.
No,
Right.
I
That's
told you,
the
coach.
debate for me. I believe the 14 penalties is a part of the culture. That's my point in it. The 14 penalties is part of Mike McCarthy's culture and what he implemented because it's been a cancer to the team and he hasn't held them accountable. The offensive linemen, the wide receivers for lining up, all that is a part of the culture. Because if you have a good culture in place, 9 times out of 10, a lot of those silly mistakes don't happen consistently to the point where it becomes the problem that destroys your team. And that's what I'm echoing. Swagoo.
Well, see, I disagree with that because again, my team was highly penalized throughout the year. On Sunday, my team had 9 penalties. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that there's a great culture in my locker room. The culture in my locker room is brotherhood, you know, to me. And so we have a good culture in our locker room. But at the end of the day, my team pretty much almost gave that up, gave that game away on a penalty on 4th and inches.
Right. So you're saying what the same, just because you have, if penalties is part of if lack of concentration at certain times is part of your culture because that's not an emphasis by the coaching staff to hold the players accountable throughout the season to straighten that out. It's not saying that your culture in your locker room is bad or terrible because we brought up the Lakers. You're still capable of winning despite flaws in your culture. But that could be the demise on why you lose. You just said it. We almost lost because of the penalty. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you was just fortunate to be going against another team that's their Achilles heel as well, and they had more than you did. Because if you would have played against the Kansas City Chiefs or the Tampa Bay Bucks, you lose that game because of that penalty. Because they're not going to have 14 penalties. They might have 5. So they're not going to.
But my point is I don't think that the quote unquote culture is the issue or is the reasoning. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe the culture is the reason. I think we have a good culture in place. I just believe that the lack of discipline by the team, the lack of attention to details, specifically in crucial moments, you know, is the issue. And that to me is coaching, how we're being taught. You know what I'm saying? Us losing the game to Green Bay in 37 seconds because of lack of execution by the defense. I don't believe that that's the culture of the team.
How's lack of execution different from lack of execution is a penalty? So it's the same thing. And it's still.
But I'm saying I don't attribute that to the culture though. You know what I'm saying? I just attribute that to, like I said, the coaching staff not drilling in the final points, you know, of what they expected from the team. Execution, attention to detail, discipline, those things I feel like has to be drilled in by the coaches and the coaching staff. I don't believe that. I'm not attributing that to the culture, just the fact of the coaching staff or the players or both not doing the things that needs to be done. Either the coaches ain't drilling it in enough, they're not holding guys accountable enough, or the players are, you know, failing to do what it is that they're being taught to do.
Okay, I'm going to say 2 quick points, and then I'll let y'all talk the rest of the podcast. One, the Lakers have a culture issue right now, and they're holding Frank Vogel accountable. How their penalties, lack of effort, talking about trading Westbrook because he ain't playing defense, and all that's because of film study, practice, coaches getting in their butt, things of that nature. So that's one example. 2, if the Cowboys would have lost because they drove down the field, they had like 5 penalties. They drove down the field, they threw it in the end zone. A 49er made a great play and knocked it out of bounds. Nobody's talking about this. You just lost to a better team. Or if you'd have lost in if Dez would have made that catch, an unbelievable catch, and the Cowboys drove and won it, nobody would have blamed Green Bay and said, man, y'all had this, and this. You just lost to a good team who made a great play. You know what I'm saying? You can lose games just because you lost a game. You played hard, you played good, you just lost to a better team. But when you're the favorite, and you have 14 penalties, and you're playing at home. You're a division winner. You're playing against a wild card team that barely got in on the last week of the season, and you get dominated like that, where you got to come back just to make it interesting. That starts from the top. To me, that's a culture problem.
But Dre, they didn't lose the game because of the penalties. At the end of the day, they was one throw away from possibly winning that game. They had the ball last, right? And if Dak just makes a different decision because like I said, to me, he audibled to that run. Me looking at that play multiple
I don't
times,
think he did.
I believe he audibled to that run, and had he audibled to a quick throw across the middle and had them get down quick, had he got down at the 30 instead of trying to get to the 25, had he done any of those things, had they found the referee and handed the ball to the referee and then snap, they would have had an opportunity. Those 14 penalties, it hurt them throughout the game as far as being able to score earlier. They had some big plays that was called back due to penalties. I understand those things. But at the end of the day, those 14 penalties ain't why they lost.
It was made them a favorite who had way more talent, have a better quarterback.
We ain't gonna do all that.
It's what made the 49ers have the lead and win the game. You have more talent. The Lakers won with Kobe and Shaq because of their talent. The Cowboys had it close and could have won it because of their talent. But they shouldn't have been in that situation. And you in that situation because lack of focus, you wasn't prepared for the game, 14 penalties, you know what I'm saying? And just natural wisdom and knowledge that you should have learned in Pee-wee football, that the referee has to spot the ball. And that's lack of focus in pressure situations. All that tied in together, culture. It's the head.
No, that's preparation, with the coaching doing everything over. Well, the culture is accountability. How much I take accountability for what I do is to and respect I have for others, because preparation is going over that when you know that. Like you said, you've been on it since Pee-wee, you know what I'm saying? And if you're accountable to, hey, I gotta know what the rules are, then hey, I understand, but you're mixing two with preparation and the culture. It's the accountability is culture.
No, it's as a coach, if I have a well-coached team, that's a part of my culture. And a well-coached team I'm going to have to prepare. Coaches say it in post-game, I didn't have them prepared enough. That's part of the culture because a well-coached team is going to prepare his team. Even if on day one, I want y'all reading the rule book. I need y'all to understand the game. That's part of implementing his culture, that we're going to be well-disciplined. We're going to know the game. We're going to know our assignments. We're going to execute. We're not going to have penalties. We're going to handle pressure situations good. And it's because it's been drilled all season long. That 2-minute warning, I don't know how many seconds y'all had when Dak got the ball. It's all on the coaching because if they're prepared, it doesn't happen like that. We said it last podcast. If they did it over and over and over in practice, then they would have executed. That's a part of the accountability, not just on the players, because on the coaches. You're accountable for not getting them prepared. That's the culture.
See, I asked y'all, and I found out, I think it was yesterday, it could have been the day before, but someone brought up the exact same thing that I asked y'all about when I said, they say that they practice this over and over and over in practice, but do they have an actual referee? And from what I found out, they don't have an actual referee. They have somebody like a ball boy or somebody, and that's why Dak in his press conference he say, well, usually the referee just has to touch the ball. That's not true. Like, you can't spot your own ball. The referee has to spot the ball. So this saying that the referee just comes in and touches the ball and gets out the way, that's what y'all do in practice, but that's not real. That's not it actually being practiced the way that it's going to happen in a game.
ESPN, numerous players said it, and on sports radio here in Houston, other NFL players said every Wednesday or Thursday, depending on the team, they have real referees, what they call the minor league referees or something, who ain't promoted to game status yet. They come in and practice, And if they don't, for some various reasons, because COVID now these days is a reason why, they do have the equipment managers, but they know the rules on spotting the balls. But they said normally, even pre-COVID, they have referees come in, junior league, I guess, referees and do practice
Okay.
during scrimmages.
Okay, well, like I say, I heard different. And the second thing is if you got referees in there that doing that, then they need to fire them because they did it wrong. That can't give the ball to the center and let the center spot the ball, and the referee, whoever's there, comes and just taps the ball and lets them play on. Like,
It was
that's not the way it goes.
by the head coach.
Yeah, I think the coach should be gone. I already said
Yeah,
it.
You
that guy.
can't fire a coach after the team goes 12-5 and you make the playoffs, man.
Right.
I'm sorry. I understand the run wants a Jim Harbaugh. Like, he's seeing these big names out there, and so that's what you want. But bro, the dude went 12-5, and really the first year you can't hold against him because of the COVID situation, and that got hurt.
This is too big
So
for him.
this is his first actual season with no issues, right? And yeah, the team goes 12-5 and you make the playoff. Like, you can't fire a dude after his first season going 12-5. Like, that's crazy. That's
I agree.
crazy.
I don't think they should fire him, but I do think Jerry needs to reevaluate things.
But you yourself said that Jerry's the issue.
That's what I said. He has to hold himself accountable and say, you know what? All right, here's another quick question, and I'll let Deron answer this one. If Jerry, hindsight, can go back to what happened with Jimmy, right? Will a different outcome happen now that he's seen what happened after Jimmy? Would he now say, Jimmy, you right. You got the power. You got to say so. You get the credit. It's your world, man. Do your thing. I'm just going to sit back. Because the reason why I say that is when you talk about the heydays of the 49ers in the 80s, yeah, they talk about Montana got 4. They talk about the head coach, with his Super Bowl rings. But when they bring up the owner and the GM, they talk about how much they won too. It was part of the dynasty and the 4 Super Bowls and all that whoop to whoop. Everybody gets credit. So if Jerry can go back, hindsight, back in time, take a time machine, will he replay what happened with Jimmy?
Yeah, he already said. He said, I should have handled that situation better. And I think he knows that now. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why
Why
I
would you change ways now then if you know better? If you know better, you do better. Why he won't do better now?
It's not just him. I keep on saying it's his son, man. It's his son. So
I can guarantee you that Jerry Jones, he's a liar. He's a liar, sir. He's a liar.
Not true.
He's a liar. Yeah, and the reason why he's lying, because if that's the case, he would have changed his ways. Even if you can't go back in time, if you truly learn from your mistake and you was truly willing to reverse what you did, he could have reversed what he did with Bill Parcells.
Right.
He could have decided at any point that one of these strong-headed coaches, that he would allow them to say, "Look, man, I'm a step back. Are you okay with me being GM? Do you want another GM? Do you got somebody in mind? I'm a step back. I'm gonna let you run the team like you want to. No more after the game press conferences. No more no more radio shows where I'm telling who's playing, who's up this week, who's down. Like, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. And so if he really learned this lesson, he would have changed already. And that man is unwilling to change. He's not going to change. He ain't going to step down. He ain't going to stop doing the stuff that he's doing. So regardless of what he goes on TV and say, man, I wish I could have done it different. If I could, I'd change everything. He lying. Liar.
He's
liar,
not.
Sir.
Because I agree with Antoine, because I believe if he was correct, Sean Payton would be the head coach of y'all team right now.
No,
he
would have
the
time and everything.
Hey, you got it. I'm stepping down. What you need?
He's a GM, so he's not going to give it the GM spot. He just has to get somebody that's strong enough to run the team. And
is he really the GM though? You said that the other dude is the one who's the man behind the curtain.
And I said he is him and McClay. They work together and they've done a good job together.
So
And
McClay
hey,
does all the leg work and he gets all the glory. Basically, that's them work.
it's
I
you know what I'm
like
saying
I
he is the
like
GM. He is the GM. So
So he's
uh,
going. So he's going to North Dakota State, looking at a left guard.
he getting tape. Everybody getting tape. He going places.
Yeah,
He
he
gets
getting
tape.
the tape after the with McLean talking over it like, hey man, look at this dude. Look at that drop step right there. Look at the power. You know, like he's not doing the leg work. He just got the
No,
title. Like
I'm gonna let y'all get y'all shot in, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
you
I
the
knew it was gonna
expert,
come.
man. You the cowboy expert. So I'm just trying to get you to explain to our
I already
subscribers
answered.
what's really
I
going on in
answered.
the building over there in Arlington.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So he's the GM. That's why he comes out and says those things. His son likes the head coach from Cardi. I really don't care about him as head coach, but yeah, Jim Harbaugh should be up in here, man. That's what we need.
well, I will say
what's
this.
your infatuation with Jim Harbaugh, man?
Yeah, I do gotta ask. That's what I was just about to ask, Antoine.
Like he said, he's gonna make people be accountable. You know what I'm saying? That's something that you got to do every day, and you gotta get in there. McCarty is, he just,
How
you
long you
know,
think? How long you think before one of them players slap Jim in the Cowboys locker room?
No,
just because.
Antoine, you know
Because
they
I'm telling you,
they
man, the stories that I heard that came out of Santa Clara when he was the head coach, like he he made a statement one time when our owner Jed York had walked into a room and he said something along the lines of no women allowed in this room, you know what I'm saying? In front of the players and everything, you know.
He's
Uh,
passionate. He's passionate.
I heard some things about things that he said to players and ways that he addressed players, but at that time, Harbaugh was the head honcho. Everybody knew it. But
Yeah.
in the Cowboys organization, everybody know that it's Jerry Jones. So would they allow Jim Harbaugh to really talk to them the way that he gonna talk to them? You know what I'm saying? Because Jim ain't gonna be scared. He is a former NFL player.
Like I said, Jerry,
I think
he
somebody
has to
might
look
slap
at.
him.
I think Jerry, he has to look at the fact that Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, you know, Bill Parcells, those guys ran the team and they were successful under those guys. So I think I think he could do it, man. He's the type of guy that would do stuff like that. Make big changes and do something that you just don't think he would do.
but you
Uh,
guys
So
that were
so if Micah Parsons slapped the taste out of Jim Harbaugh's mouth,
they
Jerry Jones gonna get rid of Micah Parsons.
gonna love each other, man. They gonna love
my
each other.
question is that those previous coaches you mentioned won big games against other big coaches. Harbaugh's a good coach, but you see what he's doing in Michigan. He finally got over the hump, but that was a down year for Ohio State. In San Francisco, he took him far, but he lost to his brother.
It went no down year.
Huh?
That went no down year. That was a good coaching job by Harbaugh.
No, he
He's
talking about
elite,
for
man.
Ohio State. He said
I
it was a
know,
down
I
year
know.
for
That's what I'm
Ohio
saying.
State.
Yeah,
I
because
know.
they have
So
a
I'm not
down.
giving excuses.
Huh?
Not because they had a down year. He beat a good team.
No, if Ohio State was really the Ohio State they were previous year, and all them guys didn't go to the league and all that the previous year, they probably would have lost again.
There was what
I
12-1. What was?
if it's not like you're asking for Nick Saban or what's the name at Clemson, a coach that, one or what's the name that just left Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, I get that. But Harbaugh, at least he has NFL experience, but in college, he's all right. But
Man, you crazy. He went to
he,
Stanford, had a great year. You know what I'm saying? He just done his thing. He
He
didn't win
he
a
he
big. He
did
didn't win a
turn he
Big Ten,
turned
a
Stanford
Big
around.
12.
Stanford was a bad school. Jim Harbaugh did turn that team around, got them to a bowl game. He did go to San Francisco, turned that team around, got him to the Super Bowl and a few championship
And,
games.
and if
Then
you've
he
been
goes to
watching,
Michigan, and he finally
yeah, if
got
you
Michigan. So
not
he
just finally,
is a winner.
hold on, before y'all
Hey,
disrespect
Mike
Jim
did.
Harbaugh,
Mike did the
hold on,
same
y'all
thing.
disrespecting him. Y'all disrespecting this man. This man went there, and if you look at their record, he turned it around. Now he wasn't winning the Big 12 because he was losing against Ohio State, and I know that's all in all be all. But if you look at this man's career at Michigan, you know what I'm saying? He just won the Big 12 championship, but he's had good records.
Last year.
Don't say y'all. I ain't disrespect. I just said that he done turned around a couple of organizations. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing but respect for Big
Gotta
Jim.
lose
I'm talking about Michigan. I'm talking about Michigan.
at Michigan. They was gonna fire him last year. This was his last hurrah. If he didn't have a good season this year, he would have been fired.
And they would have been done for it. And teams like that, they do dumb stuff. You know what I'm saying? They banished the Fab Five and finally let Juwan Howard come back. So I
See,
wouldn't
I
be
think
surprised.
Jim is gonna want to do what Kyle was able to do, which is go to a team that's kind of desperate and say, look, I want to have say so in who the GM gonna be. A team
Yeah.
that he gonna have full autonomy, and I believe that that's probably the Raiders. That's why the reporting came out that if the Raiders wanted him, that he would go to the Raiders. They don't have a GM, they don't have a head coach, they got a quarterback, they got some talent. You know what I'm saying? And that's a team that Jim Harbaugh could go there and really put his imprint in, have true say so in who the GM is, which is gonna give him true say so in personnel.
Real question, off topic a little bit. If you are Harbaugh and the Raiders call you, knowing what they paid the previous coach, are you gonna ask for the same contract?
Probably. Yep. I want 10, 11
Yeah, it's
million
gonna
for the
be
next 10,
yeah,
11
it's
years.
gonna be big. It's gonna be big.
They showed they butt. They overbid themselves. So hey, you can't come down from that.
Well, say, man, this was good discussion, fellas. This was a good discussion. I don't know if we didn't found out if it's the culture or the coaching staff, but it's something for Cowboy fans to chew on. At the end of the day, man, Dallas, y'all had a good season, like I said y'all would. You know, made the playoffs. Y'all a talented team, and the arrows pointing up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hey
Once you
man, I took my swings. You know what I'm saying? This one hurt. This really hurt. Like you saw the last time, I didn't have no Cowboys, nothing on. So this one really did hurt. So I let y'all get y'all shots in. This is it. We moving
No. Can I
forward.
get one more
The
one more
season is
question?
over. The
One more
season is
question.
over. I don't want no more, man.
I want one more question. Just one more question. Where's the stock right now?
you childish. You childish, fam. You childish. Deron, you
Are
ain't
we,
got to answer that, man.
That's
real quick,
You
cute.
got to answer
y'all
That's
that.
need
cute.
pressure
That's
over there?
cute.
Y'all
That's
need
cute.
pressure?
That's cute. That's cute. Real cute.
You
You was cute today, Dre.
straight childish, bro. Oh my
I just want to
god.
get that last one in. This last one, that's all.
Oh my god, this dude here. Say, man, I
That's
appreciate
it.
y'all.
I'm done. I'm done. You know, no more cowboy jokes.
I appreciate y'all coming through, man, rocking with us, man. Like I say, we're gonna be back on Sunday where we're gonna have our, you know, oh my bad. Well, we're gonna have our video for the to recap the this weekend games. You know what I'm saying? So that should be on Sunday night. And anything before y'all go, before we go, fellas? No.
No.
Hey, the Mavericks is 9-1 in the last 10 games. I think 10-1 now, last 11.
Want to tell people where
So,
they can find you on Instagram, on Twitter, your okay, people want to follow you, y'all want to drop that for them? No? All right.
no. My wife will be looking for you, man.
All right, man. Well, until this weekend, man. Say what?
You a Cowboy fan too?
Nah,
Deron?
she a Niner fan, bro. She a Niner fan. Bang bang, shout.
What about
You
Deron?
know what I'm talking about? My kinfolk Cree. Cree, she a Niner fan.
Oh, she a Niner fan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that was ooh we.
That's what they feel
She was
bad.
walking on eggshells Sunday night. My kinfolk was on eggshells Sunday night. You know what I'm saying? Being extra sweet. You thirsty, baby? Real.
The tissue
And
right
get
there was
what? And
like,
get what?
man,
The run most likely gonna have to be pretend rooting for the Niners this weekend. Show some support for his wife. You know what I'm saying? The same way she would if the Cowboys was moving on. She'll be rooting for the Cowboys against whoever they play next.
I'm gonna go ahead since the 49ers did it, man, and whoever knocked us out in the playoffs, because we will be in the playoffs every year now. I'm gonna show respect to the team that beat me. You know what I'm saying, and give y'all some love, and just say, this the only time you get to see it up on this channel. So, you know what I'm saying. So,
What? Hey, I ain't gonna lie.
At the end,
big dog salute to you, bro.
At the end, when I'm not putting no team up and we win our 6th Super Bowl, that's when we're gonna celebrate. So there you go, man. Respect for San Francisco, y'all did your thing, man. But that's it.
Big dog salute, man. Big dog salute, man. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I rock with you, man. I rock with you, dog. For real. That's G style right there. You seen him, Dre? Show some respect for the boy. That's hey. Big dog salute to my kinfolk, man. You know what I'm talking about? Rest of you Cowboy fans, take notes from what a big dog do. You know what I'm talking about? Show a little bit of respect. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't on the 5th no more, man. You October 28th or something. You ain't even on the same birthday.
What you bad for? You ain't no Cowboy fan.
Damn right. I ain't
You
no
just a hater.
Gonna trade the team for the other team. I ain't a fan, but I ain't
a fan.
He ain't became a Niner fan. He just saying he's showing respect to the team that beat his team.
Only way I'm not a fan, that boy number 4 got to go to the 49. That's it.
You used to be a Niner fan, so stop playing with me, man. I
For
never
real.
liked the Niners.
Come on, speak on it now. Talk about it, bro. Talk about the bandwagoner.
That was Jerry and Joe. That's a whole different time.
It's the same score.
I was a huge Jerry Rice fan. It was the players, not the team. Man, I'm a LeBron fan. I don't root for Lakers.
You got real good at hopscotch around that time with your sister. Because you hopscotch from team to team. That's what you did. You play hopscotch and you're a Niner fan, and then you jump off and want to jump on. Now you the Niners' biggest hater.
I was always, the Oilers was my number 1 team. Always.